Hey, you guys, how are you doing? I'm glad to see you back again. This is Richard Sachs, and this is almost Lost Arts Radio Live. This is Lost Arts Radio's Safe Stream live version. And for those of you who may just be tuning in for the first time, we started this because we got put in a timeout for our own protection so that we would stay safe and not say anything unapproved, which I certainly wouldn't want to say anything controversial or unapproved ever. Because our rulers have determined for us that it's safer for us just to say things that are approved. It's just that those are getting smaller and smaller. So it's a new learning experience for me, learning how to, I was just telling Doug that Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon said he wanted to teach this guy how to fight without fighting. And this is kind of like that. It's talking without talking. And it's a new skill for me. I haven't really practiced it much before. But in the main show, which is still going on in the channels that, I guess they're more evil than the one that you're watching now, we're going to talk about World War I. And I've noticed it's something that most Americans and probably most people in a lot of parts of the world don't really know much about, and they don't understand that there are some similarities to what's happening now in the time up to and including, I guess, what did it go to, the 27th of June in 1914. And see, I mean, it's getting so that the educational system in our country is so successful that people don't even know, in these interviews of a man or woman on the street, they don't know who the Civil War was between. They don't know who the Revolutionary War was fought against in the U.S. It's really an incredible achievement of our educational system, and we need to give a lot of credit to them for the organization and strategy planning up to that point. But I saw interviews of people saying, and these were in college towns, with a lot of students, a lot of university students interviewed, and the question was things like, what's the Bill of Rights? Nobody knew that. Who was the Revolutionary War fought against? And they thought maybe Mexico or one of the other states, or, they were pretty confused. And I thought, well, none of us really know as much history as we could. I would love to know the complete history of every country and complete language of every country and everything, but I'm not even keeping up with what I have to do now in 16-hour days. So when we get a chance to talk about some historical things that are relevant to what's going on right now in our lives, I thought, we should take an opportunity to do that. So we're going to try that today and see how it goes. And basically what it comes down to is we have a decision to make every day, all day, and that's about sanity or complete, zombiehood, which is the direction that we're being pushed by our rulers right now. And so I thought, what part of this comparison, this analogy with World War I could I talk about today on the Safe Stream show? And I thought, well, maybe I could talk about a certain truce that happened, excuse me, in the first year of fighting, and first half year of fighting, actually, in 1914. And there was a certain truce, but I realized I can't really say anything about it on this show because it might offend people who don't believe in the particular religion that was associated with the truce on a certain day. I can't say what day it was, except the date was about December 24th in the evening in 1914, and something really amazing happened on that night. And it was a clue to how, it was temporary in World War One that they had that truce, but it could be more than temporary if we decided how to do it now. Um, Again, it's our decision, sanity or not, and it's your personal decision, and that matters because we've been told that, well, we're only one person out of 8 billion or something like that. That's the wrong emphasis, and it's very misleading, because really what every one of us does, what you do, affects everybody else in the world and everywhere, actually. So I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, but we're actually not as stupid and helpless and dependent as we're supposed to believe we are. There's this incredible, I don't even know what you'd call it, some beauty or power, not from our own little ego selves, but flowing through us because we're connected to where we came from. And I don't want to offend anybody, of course, that doesn't believe we came from anywhere. I have to be really careful. But you know what I'm talking about. You can become like an open conduit for that. And I was going to say all of us, both one category and another category and another one, but I can't tell you what any of those are because it might offend certain people. So we just have to say that we all have to just tune into it. And it's not an imaginary thing, it's real. It doesn't matter whether you believe in it, it's still there. It's what the religions try to get to and grasp and talk about. And even if they didn't exist, it would be there. It was there before anything was there. It was there in the beginning. And I'm just letting you know that in my experience, it's something absolutely real. Not something to fight about, it's something to connect to. And it's so powerful. It has the potential to turn what many people have observed as a total nightmare. And now there are a lot of aspects to that were around in World War One as well. And we'll talk about that on the other platforms in about 17 minutes, if you know where to find us. It could turn the nightmare into some kind of a beautiful dream until we get back home and wake up completely to what's going on and who we are, where we came from. But the thing is that we don't have to wait till we do what's called dying, where you leave the physical form and go to your next destination. You don't have to wait for that. We can wake up now. And people could say, well, that's not practical. It's just a philosophy. And I'm saying, no, it's completely separate from what you believe. It's in what you actually experience, and it could fix everything. Kind of, people are wondering what the solution is to what's going on in the world, which in a lot of ways, if we let ourselves be aware of it, it's something that's not very good. And people ask about if they start to see it happening, if they're logical about it, they say, well, how do you fix it? What's the use of just talking about all these things that are going wrong in the world and even thinking about it unless you're going to come up with solutions or at least look for them? And what I'm saying is we're carrying the solution. It's like in The Wizard of Oz. Did you see the movie? And I think it came out before the 50s, maybe the 30s or 40s. And Dorothy gets taken in a tornado in her house to some realm that's not even in the world, and she's trying to figure out how to get back. It's kind of like our situation right now, all of us, even though we don't realize it. And after looking for the wizard and all these great people that could save her, people with reputations for being able to do everything. And in the end, she gets told that the shoes she's wearing on her feet are the key to her going back home whenever she wants to. And I'm saying it's closer even than our feet. And we don't have to follow insanity, or we don't have to follow suicidal orders. We can make, they wanted a slogan for America and the rest of the world. How about make common sense common again? because it's much more powerful than fake science. And it's much more powerful than what it leads to is more powerful than the dark forces that are in charge of the world right now. They're only in charge because we're unconscious. And if we want to change that, then everything changes. What's happening around us is a reflection of what is inside us. And that is, to a large extent, changeable whenever we want. Fear, which is controlling things now, is actually optional. So whatever the excuse our minds are giving us to have it, that's just a fake program. Fear is not useful. It's not required. Even if there was a law that you had to be fearful, you don't have to do it. Because fear is a made-up mind program, and it can be dropped anytime. And then once you do that, and the program changes or goes away, you don't have to psychoanalyze it. It's just gone. And then you can actually be yourself and decide what to do to make a contribution to this situation. So that's about all that I can say for the safe part. This show is probably going to be really short most of the time, but people seem to like short videos anyway. Feel free to, send us feedback anytime you want. LostArtsRadio.com is the main site, and there's a contact form there. If you want to help keep us on the air and watch our other shows and help us get our projects funded that have been waiting for a long time, you can donate at LostArtsRadio.com or LostArtsResearchInstitute.org or subscribestar.com/LostArtsRadio. And that's very helpful, but it's not necessary. If you're struggling for money, then please don't donate anything in money. Just share the show, because we're obviously struggling with the censors, and you can help us get around that, which I appreciate. But the main message, which I think it is safe to say on this show while we're on this platform while we're in, parole, I guess, or just kind of suspension to see whether we're going to be good or not, is that you're not the weak, unintelligent, powerless person who's dependent on experts that you've been told the whole time. You're incredible because of what you're connected to, not our little, petty ego stuff down here, but who you really are. And if you get conscious of that, everything else follows, and there are ways to do it. So anyway, I appreciate you being in the world at this time. I think there's no limit to what we can do if we drop the belief of all the things that are impossible and just dump that. Then you find out what you really are. And it gets better and better and better. And the bad guys shouldn't be afraid of us doing that, even though that's their fear, that we might wake up sometime, because even they can be helped to change course while there's still time. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you about. There was a special truce in World War I that is significant for what we could do now. And there's a link below the video if you want to see it. It's just that I'm warning you that it's not as safe as this show. This is more like a kind of a safe space Play-Doh corner and coloring crayons and stuff like that. That if everything's too traumatic, and we want to make the platform happy so that they know we are totally devoted to terms of service and everything else that goes with it, community guidelines and all that kind of stuff. I don't think I've said anything too offensive, but doing my best to talk without talking, as we said. So the link to our show and other places, which is a bit more complete, talking about what we're going to discuss today on World War I, if you happen to want to see it, is available. And Planetary Healing Club, for the people that want to get deeper into these things, is available too. That's meeting in about an hour and 40 minutes at the moment. PlanetaryHealingClub.com. But otherwise, stay in touch. I hope you value yourself, take care of yourself really well. It's the best thing you can do to take care of other people is keep yourself in really good shape on all levels. And any feedback that you want to send us anytime is great. So have a great week. Maybe we'll see you on the main show or in the club. And otherwise, I'll meet you back here in a week. And I hope everything goes great for you in between. We'll talk to you soon.